we've heard this Tuesday, the voter turnout is up slightly from 5 months ago. The elections back in April of this year. At midday, there were 26.8% of voters had turned out to vote. That's up around 2% on April. So the signs are that people haven't yet got voter fatigue, despite these two elections in an unprecedented short period. And we've seen a steady stream of people at polling stations throughout Tel Aviv and here in Jaffa now, where I am now. People telling us they feel it's really important to come out and vote today, that this election is going to decide the direction that Israel takes as a country going forward from here. And we've had politicians of all colours, as we've been hearing, out and about urging their supporters to get out and vote, trying to scare them to coming out to the polls. We've had a few politicians on the beachfront here in Tel Aviv saying people shouldn't just enjoy the water and the beach there, that they should get to the polling stations first, including the number 2 of the Blue and White Party, the coalition that's been giving Benjamin Netanyahu a run for his money. Very close election result tipped here. Netanyahu himself has been out and about telling voters that there's high participation in Arab areas, so that his Likud party supporters need to get out and vote. And in fact, he's done his election trick once again of holding an emergency party meeting, citing the Arab participation, which he says is going to be high, and saying therefore that his supporters really need to come out and back him this time again.
And as you say, Catherine, a lot at stake this time around. The second election in 5 months. Last time, it was being described as a referendum on Benjamin Netanyahu, who is now the country's longest serving leader. Is that the case this time around?
Absolutely. This is being billed as somewhat, again, of a referendum on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. People we spoke to very early at the polling stations here in Tel Aviv, which is traditionally a liberal, left-wing city in many areas, people there saying that they were coming out principally to try and stop him getting a 5th term in office. Benjamin Netanyahu is a very divisive figure. While his supporters adore him for, they say, security reasons, bringing Israel stability after the very violent years of the Second Intifada, there are many people here who say they simply had enough of him in power, not least because he's facing 3 separate corruption cases. In fact, pre-trial hearings are due to begin next month, whether he is indeed re-elected Prime Minister or not. He's also made some very controversial claims going into these elections, saying that he will annex Jewish settlements in the West Bank, in the Jordan Valley, which makes up around 30% of the territories there in the West Bank. So a huge amount at stake here going forward, and some really big decisions about this direction that Israel takes here as it goes forward.